Coming up tonight on YCN News, we find out who the next governor of Vermont is. New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan has been inaugurated for a second term. And a ski resort in Windsor County burns down. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening and welcome to this Thursday edition of YCN News. I'm Laura James. Well, Vermont has a new governor, and he's the same as the old governor. Peter Shumlin received the support of 110 legislators this morning at the State House in Montpelier, compared to 69 lawmakers who cast ballots for Republican Scott Milne. Libertarian candidate for governor Dan Feliciano did not receive any votes today. 90 votes were needed to win. For the third time in this century, legislators in Montpelier voted by secret ballot to determine who would lead the Green Mountain State. Since 2002 and 2010, lawmakers again took this step because none of the candidates who ran for governor received at least 50% of the ballots cast by registered voters in November's general election. Shortly after Shumlin got the good news, he issued a press statement pledging his support to help Vermont move forward economically. Shumlin said he's grateful for the opportunity to continue serving the state that he loves. In his inaugural address, Shumlin says he believes Vermont's best days are ahead, not behind. Reducing property taxes, bringing more jobs into the state for residents are two areas that will demand his focus. The state faces about a $100 million budget shortfall. Still, near the end of his inaugural speech this afternoon, Shumlin said the state cannot tax itself out of a problem. A group did gather outside of the Vermont State House, asking all lawmakers to remember the needs of the homeless in Vermont. Shumlin's address continued with a vow to help expand the economy, grow jobs, and increase affordability. And he acknowledged that many in Vermont still are not feeling the benefit of the economic recovery. He said and stated that he would also propose ways to address the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead in making sure state government operates at a price Vermonters can afford, while providing critical services to their most vulnerable. Shumlin finished by stating Vermont continues to be the best place in America to live, work, and raise a family, and there is a need to fight hard every day to make that a reality for every single Vermonter. And he looks forward to working with Vermonters and legislators to do just that. It was an important day in Concord, New Hampshire today, too. Governor Maggie Hassan was inaugurated for a second term under sunny, chilly skies in the state's capital. She laid out her priorities at the ceremony and now faces the challenge of having both legislative chambers controlled by Republicans. During her first term, Democrats controlled the House, and they've been going back and forth as to whether the state's tight budget is the result of too much spending or not bringing in enough revenue. But for today, it was all celebration at the inaugural ceremony and State House Open House. Governor Maggie Hassan's inaugural committee reports the ceremony began at noon and featured poetry, prayer, and music from numerous Granite Staters, including a performance by the Concord Community Music School's Scholarship Vocal Ensemble. Christopher Duffy of Manchester sang the national anthem. The inaugural committee also formed a unique partnership with the New Hampshire Food Bank to highlight its culinary job training program, which helps individuals suffering financial hardship gain the skills necessary to seek employment in the food service industry. Food prepared by program participants was provided at the State House Open House, and guests were encouraged to bring items to donate to the food bank, especially peanut butter, canned tuna, chicken, and soup. Governor Hassan stated that the inaugural events highlighted the state's unique landmarks, products, and culture, and featured a diverse group of Granite Staters whose talents and commitment represent the best of New Hampshire. Also later in the afternoon, Governor Hassan held a state open house featuring entertainment for children and Granite Staters of all ages. The open house also showcased products from local businesses and artisans throughout the state. A landmark ski resort in Windsor County, Vermont, burned to the ground today. Firefighters from 5 different Vermont towns battled flames in sub-zero temperatures at the base lodge once used by the Mount Scottney Ski Resort. The resort closed several years ago, and the base lodge has not been used since 2010, according to the Vermont Standard newspaper. Lack of water pressure is making it difficult for crews from Windsor, Reading, and Heartland, as well as West Windsor and Ascutney, to control the fire. The fire was reported today at 5:30 a.m., and by 3 p.m. this afternoon, firefighters remained on the scene, hosing down hot spots so flames would not reignite. Several major fires since Christmas have destroyed property throughout our region, an occurrence that's tied with the low temperatures. Now, New Hampshire State Fire Marshal Bill Degnan shares ways people can warm without endangering themselves and households too. According to the National Fire Protection Association, half of all the home heating fires occur during the winter months. On average, heating equipment is involved in more than 60,000 reported U.S. structure fires per year, and New Hampshire is no exception. Marshal Degnan and Chief David Parenti, president of the New Hampshire Association of Chiefs, recommends that some simple home heating safety tips can help. Information helpful to people anywhere. A change of weather means adjusting the thermostat or turning to a portable heater for quick warmth. As per Degnan and Parenti, only use portable heaters from a recognized heating laboratory. Make sure the heater has an automatic shutoff, so if it tips over, it shuts off. Keep anything combustible at least 3 feet away from the heater. You can also plug portable heaters directly into outlets. Never plug a portable heater into an extension cord or power strip, and turn heaters off when going to bed or leaving the room. If you're using a fireplace, do not burn paper in the fireplace. Keep a glass or metal screen in front of the fireplace to prevent embers or sparks from jumping out, and allow ashes to cool before disposing them in a metal container with a lid outside, at least 10 feet away from the home. Wooden pellet stove users are reminded to have the stove inspected by a qualified professional each year before using it the first time. This morning, it was extreme cold, sub-zero temperatures, and tomorrow morning, a weak clipper system is expected. Not a lot of snow, but still very cold temperatures associated with it, though mid-20s should feel downright balmy. But for this morning, dozens of schools delayed the start time. Some canceled as residents across the Twin State region awoke to strong winds combined with sub-zero temperatures to produce dangerous wind chills. And while winds subsided, those temperatures continue to fall. The National Weather Service reminds us that extremely cold wind chills will cause frostbite very quickly. So how do we determine if we have frostbite? Well, the National Weather Service says to watch for signs including loss of feeling and white or pale appearance in extremities such as fingers, toes, earlobes, and the tip of the nose. If symptoms are detected, get medical help immediately. Well, despite this cold snap we're in, there's an ecological reason for the season. A reason we'll see in spring when flowers and plants bloom. And with proper clothing, a good cure for the winter blues is to spend some time outdoors, walking or enjoying the sports that only can happen in winter. Ross Malaguti from Mount Sunapee Resort has some ideas.
First of all, proper footwear. There's a lot of ice and slippery conditions, so make sure you're wearing the proper shoes. And then also you want to make sure that you have the proper clothes on. Dress in layers, start with a shirt, go with something heavier and build up. That way if you do get warm, you can shed a few layers and maintain your body temperature. The other thing to make sure you're being aware of is frostbite. And human skin can freeze really quickly in cold weather. And you want to make sure that you keep all exposed body parts at least covered or warm. So I would recommend, again, dressing in layers, and keep an eye out for your friends and family who might be showing frostbite by white circles. That's typically the first indication of frostbite. So if you see someone with white circles, most likely on their cheeks or the tip of their nose, go inside and let them warm up slowly. Don't apply hot cloth, hot compresses or anything. Let the skin naturally warm up to avoid any blistering or anything else along those lines.
Thank you very much, Ross. After the break, we'll bring you more news from our region.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. In Brattleboro, Vermont, the top 12 vital projects for the updated Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy are about to be announced. Coming up January 12th, Southeastern Vermont Economic Development Strategies will make that announcement. The Brattleboro Reformer reports the purpose of this vital project list is to publicly acknowledge the top projects that will result in the most significant progress toward the Windham region's economic development goals. A project selection committee comprised of a small group of individuals that represent the region and are firmly established in their field of expertise were chosen to review, score, and rank the project submissions received. A total of 42 new and updated projects were submitted. The project proposals will be included in the first annual update of the region's Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, as required by the United States Economic Development Association. While inclusion of a project in no way guarantees funding of any sort, many federal agencies look more favorably upon projects which have used that kind of broad support inclusion in a region. It's school budget time across our region, and the Brattleboro Union High School Board has approved a fiscal year 2016 budget that is down less than 1% from the current year. That according to the Brattleboro Reformer. Now, the board accepted the proposed $27,888,000 budget Monday night, and residents in the district will vote on the proposed spending plan at the annual meeting coming up on February 10th. And even though expenses across the district in the fiscal year 2016 budget have dropped by about $53,000, the tax rate is projected to increase by about 8 cents due to the state's 3-year rolling average in determining the student count. Now, the student count at the high school is projected to be about the same in 2016, about 777 students. But over the past few years, the numbers have dropped, and the state uses a 3-year average when determining local tax rates. The board is proposing a fund balance transfer of $875,000 to help defray taxes, which would leave about $2 million in the unassigned fund balance, and is not proposing any special spending articles at the year's annual meeting. When YCN News returns, we'll join Matt McDonald, who will look at that chilly forecast. We'll see what's coming up for the next couple of days and check out sports too.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. Let's see how the forecast is doing now for the next couple of days.
Thanks, Laura. Tonight we'll have a 40% chance of snow showers after 2 a.m. with a low around 10. Wind chills could be as low as 0. Friday, snow showers are likely before noon. Highs will be near 25. Snow may accumulate to about an inch. Friday night will be partly cloudy with a low around 7. Wind chill values may be as low as -2. Saturday will be mostly sunny with a high near 20, and Saturday night will be partly cloudy with a low around 3.
Snow Country Snapshot is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill in Newbury, New Hampshire.
Hey everybody, Hallie O'Brien here at Mount Snow in southern Vermont. Mount Snow is actually celebrating their 60th anniversary because some brilliant mind named Walter Schonkeneck decided, you know what, I'm going to put a ski resort right here. Also, check out the farm. It's a new terrain park. While others are going urban, they're going rural.
This week we reached a whole new level of cold, so snowmakers were able to max it out and ski resorts are near 100%. Mount Sunapee has their snowmaking towers going full blast this week so they can ski every single snowmaking trail this weekend. It's time to cheer on the Pats at Pats Peak, of course. Enjoy the Saturday game on 5 big flat screen TVs with surround sound.
Mount Snow has 4 different mountain faces and they all have different personalities. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, there's the main face, which is predominantly intermediate terrain. We groom a lot of it. The north face, which is all expert steeps. Then we've got Sunbrook, south-facing mountain face, all intermediate terrain.
Nice.
And then Corinthia, which is 8 different parks, 100 acres of freestyle terrain.
Stratton does their girls' time out this Sunday for snowboarders. This time the theme is diamonds, and appropriately, these shred betties are going to hone their skills on the steeper groomed trails. Saturday is Fat Day at Bromley, PHAT, which means protect your head at all times, and they're giving away 5 kids' helmets.
It is always a great time at Mount Snow and always a bluebird day if you're catching my drift. Head over to snowcountry.com for more weather and conditions. I'm Hallie O'Brien, and we are going to go grab some pizza at Tony's. See you next week.
And now let's take a look at our community calendar. Tomorrow in Putney, Vermont, check out the Poetry Out Loud at the Next Stage Arts starting at 7 p.m. Sunapee Coffee House will host an open mic night from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the United Methodist Church basement. On Saturday, Brattleboro's Farmers Market will take place from 10 to 2 at the Robert H. Gibson River Garden. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. Now on YCN Sports, we have some results from last night's games. In girls basketball, Sunapee hosted their rival Derryfield. Sunapee blew away the competition, winning 63-22. In a Vermont game, Windsor and Newport High School competed. After this twin state war between teams, Windsor won the game with 56 points to Newport's 44 points. And turning to girls hockey, there was a game last night between Hanover and Bishop Brady Trinity. Hanover shut them out 6-0 in a well-played game by Hanover. Congratulations.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News returns, we'll join Justin Dane for a cooking segment on grilled octopus.
The YCN News continues in a moment.